So at this point, you may have your project edited and ready to be color corrected and then color graded. And right now we want to jump from our edit page to our color page. By the way, we want to bypass the Fusion page because passing through Fusion will create compound Fusion clips that are custom compound clips made just for VFX, for Fusion. We don't want that. And by the way, if you don't want to see that little Fusion part and the cut page right there, you can just go on Workspace, Show Page, and decheck the one that you don't want to see. So we don't want to see Fusion. We don't want to see maybe the cut page. Maybe you want to customize all these little parts by right-clicking there and pressing Show Icons Only for a cleaner version of result. And we talk about VFX compound clip that may be created passing through Fusion, but talking about compound clip, if you want to work with multiple cuts interpreted by one unique file, by one unique clip, you can just select your clips, make a right click, and press New Compound Clip. By doing this, the program will ask you the name of this compound clip. You're gonna press Create, and then will be like having one big take that will be interpreted by the program by one take on the color grading panel. It's important to work with compound clips and with unique clips when you have to color grade, because once jumping on the color page, it will see your timeline cut by cut. So you will have to work on one clip after the other. If by pressing play everything is not running in that way, maybe you may have switched to the loop. You want to decheck this, and yeah, this is the interpretation by clips of your timeline. If you want also to see your timeline, you can press timeline right there. This little toggle will open your physical timeline down there. Right now we have just one layer, so we have just V1. And going back on the edit, we can see that everything it's on V1. Obviously, if I move something to V2 or V3, maybe in that way, you will see them on V2 or V3. But by the way, let's stick to the cleanest version of this cut. And yeah, let's check this page and what it's made. So we have our clips there. Each cut, it's represented by this gray, space, one from the other. This is the timeline. You can jump from one clip to the other. Normally, I leave the timeline dechecked because I don't like to have it. You have your media pool. On the media pool, you have all the media as we saw on the edit page. You have your LUTs. Your LUTs collection, it's right there. We have the V Multimedia LUT collection right there. If you press this little toggle, will open all the other folder that you're using for LUTs. You have your gallery, and the gallery is cool if you are making grades and you want to take references of your grades. By the way, maybe I'm applying a LUT to my clip, and then I'm making another adjustment just to let you see what I'm doing, just a really random thing. And then I may like the look, I want to press right on my image, press grab still, and my still will be like a representation of what I've done with nodes and everything applied effects. And I can go on other clips, go with my still. I have a preview by going above him and pressing with the right click. I can use apply grade, play still if you just want to see the still on the other part of the image. But if I want to use it, just pressing apply grade, and the grade will be applied to my image. Stills are great. We're gonna talk about that in a few lessons. Then we can obviously decheck all this part or let them open. Then we have on this right part clips that helps you to show them or to not show them. We'll talk about clip groups that are great if you want to work just with some edited part. Clip groups are basically groups of clips. You may group few clips with I don't know, maybe just exteriors. So you're gonna talk them clips exteriors, and then we will have all the marker clip, flag clip, and the grouped clip there, so we can see on this list just the grouped one or just the flagged or marked one. So this is a really handy tool if you are working with a mini or micro panel. You may want to have that dechecked and play just skip a clip when you want to create the next clip. So that's good to know. That's a really handy tool. You can also customize the editing size and input size, everything, it's there. Then you have notes if you don't want to see all your notes, but it's cool to have them popped there. You have your open effects. These one are the same effects that you see on the edit page, and you can just use effects by dragging them onto your notes. In that way you can make a double click, or you can just take them and drag them on your clip. And obviously notes, there will be a dedicated part just about notes. It's a really cool word, one of the notes. If you're coming from Premiere or Final Cut, you're maybe new to notes, but these are the strongest tool when it comes to color grading. Then by going down, and also obviously we have the Lightbox. Lightbox, it's a collection of all the clips that you have on your timeline. It's like watching the whole movie, the whole montage before you go to the deliver page. You can even from this left side that you can see in that way, or you can even decheck this. You can see the ungraded clips, the graded clips, the modified clips, the grouped clips. By the way, you can just see by filters what you want to see and what you want to see, and that's really handy before the editing. Maybe you want to see just the grouped clip of the exteriors, you want to show them, or the one that you may have ungraded. Maybe you grade from one clip at the other, and you're like, oh man, I have like 16 or 17 cuts. I may have missed one clip for the grading, and you can just press ungraded clips and they will pop up there. By the way, I'm gonna decheck this right now, and yeah, normally this is my custom mode for color grading. I don't even take clips sometimes. I like to stay really big on the page, and we have all this color section there. We have our scopes that you're gonna talk on the next lessons. We have the parade, the waveform, the vector scope, the histogram, and the CIE chromaticity. That's great if you want to know where your color is placed and how much colors do you have into your image. You have color spaces there, and it's really handy, and it's customizable, by the way. And yeah, that's everything you need to see while grading. And there on the left side, all the tools that you will gonna use for the grading. We're gonna talk about each one of these panels, starting from the color wheels to the color checker match. If you have a color checker on before your clap, before your scene, if you have to adapt this, you may want to use this really handy tool. We have the camera raw. Obviously this file is not raw, but you can just change the decoding quality and the decoding settings for the clip just from there. You may have a Canon C200 or a Red Epic or an ARRI Alexa color space in our project settings. Maybe you have that color managed in one way and you want to change it just for these clips. You can change it from there, and then the output it will stick to this. Then from the color wheels we have the primaries bars, and these are the primaries wheels. These are the exactly same thing, with the difference that we are playing also with RGB with the wheels, and with the bars we're also playing with RGB, but we are not that accurate, or better, we are working with two plenty different methods. And then with the log wheel, it's another type of wheel. We're going to talk about that too. Then we have the RGB mixer. This is the input of your red, green, and blue colors. For obviously every output, we have the amount of reds, greens, and blues. You may want to change this if you have any issues on the RGB starting point of your clip. You have on motion effects. This is basically a denoiser. It's a really powerful tool for your image. It will help you, to denoise in a really professional way your image. I'm gonna do that just to let you see the power of this tool in a really fast way. Let's watch our image, how clean it is right now with some little adjustments. I'm gonna decheck this. You have curves, and on the curve part, this is a really handy tool because you don't just have the classic curve, you just have options for soft clips, for editing just the RGB, or to stick with the blacks and the RGB. You also have the U versus U if you want to change each color to another color. You have the U versus saturation for saturation of each color, U versus luminance for the luminance, luminance versus saturation, luminance versus saturation, and saturation versus saturation. I'm going to talk about this on another lesson too, but yeah, everything is there on the curves. We have the qualifier, or better, the selector range, if you want to take just a little portion of image. And by the way, this little wen right there, this is made for tools like Windows or qualifier. When you're selecting portion of the image, you may, have something selector and you're like, anything, it's not showing to my image, but I'm seeing it from the previous right there. You have just to check this little tool to see what you're doing. By the way, we have a log image here, so it's pretty hard to have a great selection. Right now we need that with a graded image or a better contrast image. Gotta deselect this. And yeah, that's a selection range. With a qualifier, we can use it on different methods. We have the RGB, the lumetri, and the 3D methodology. These are great, and this works great. And you can see them just by checking their different ways of using the qualifier. I'm gonna talk about that. Windows, if you want to affect just some part of the image, you may want to, focus just on one part. And maybe you want to create a shadowy area by inverting that. Yeah, this is not the best example, but by the way, you understand what I'm saying. And you can match this with, different node usage, like the node outside node that will create an outside node with the inverted selection. But by the way, we're gonna talk about that. And these are great for vignettes, for just taking few parts of the areas. You have all these transformation tools there for your windows. You have all these different type of windows. Maybe you want to create a gradient map, you want to create maybe more than one gradient map, you can just press there. And yeah, you have everything you need to mask and to isolate some part of your image right there. And then we can also match those things with this really handy tool that is the tracker. The tracker works for really different things. Lots of people may know it just for that, obviously, tracking feature. And by the way, DaVinci has one of the greatest trackers that I ever saw on different programs. You can use it to track windows, and you can also use it to stabilize your footage. We may not need that for this specific shot, but by the way, I'm gonna let you see how it works. The tracker have a tracker window methodology, stabilizer, methodology. If you want to stabilize your footage, we don't need on this specific clip, but you have all these three types of movement, from perspective to translation, and you just want to press stabilize, and it will be analyzing your clip, and it will be stabilizing it. Really handy tool. If it's not working, you can just change all this tool here. I'm gonna talk about that. And obviously the effects, if you have visual effects and you have to track it frame by frame or on the clip, and this is a really handy tool in Word with each node. And then we have the blur section if you want to blur your image or if you want to enhance details, and that's a really handy tool too. You have the key, so you have the alpha, clean, input and output keys. You can see what I mean by that, because maybe I am doing a strong modification to my clip and you're like, okay, I like what we're doing, but I want to set the output to a lower point. You may be comfortable if I call it like the opacity. When you set the opacity of a layer inside Premiere or inside another program, that's the opacity, the gain, how much it's affecting the clip. And by the way, I have to say that every modification that I'm doing, everything that I'm doing, every effect that I'm pulling there, it's working with this node. We will talk about that, by the way, but you have to stick with nodes and understand that you can create multiple nodes and different nodes, and we'll talk about that. But when we are working on something, we are working on the red node. So I am with this red node that is selected, and you can see my modification here. If I pass to another node, everything disappears, because on this node we have no customization, we have no effects, we made nothing, so it's affecting this node. If I'm gonna delete that, everything disappear. Obviously this works like layer, and yeah, that's just a little round trip for that thing. I want to say that to you because you may don't have understand that, but yeah, everything we are doing is working on a single node for time. So every time I'm pressing to one node to another, I'm working on the node selected. So key input, key output, that's how it works. You can invert it, you can use mask, you can offset it. That's your node key. Then you have your sizing. I don't usually use that. I use that just for reasons of previews. Maybe I'm matching two clips, one to the other, and I won't change the pan, the tilt, the zoom, or the rotation. I usually do this on the editing part, but by the way, you can do it also here. Lots of people use blanking. It's like illegal for me to add blank bars or black bars above your image. You just have to customize your master settings and timeline resolution there. Don't use black bars, it will be illegal for me. Then you have your width, height, pitch customization. If you want to rotate or flip your image, everything is also there. Yeah, as you can see, blank bars is like having those black things above your image. It's not cool. You want to work it in your image. Maybe you have a 2:39 image. You want to make it 2:39 because you like CinemaScope. I don't know. If you want to adapt that to the timeline, you just have to go there. I'm going back into the editing room. Sorry for that. And on the inspector, on retime and scaling, double click, you will have to press fill. And with fill, it will fill all the black areas. And if you want to customize, how you're looking at the frame, just go up as we saw on transform and change, how you want to see that. We don't want black bars. And yeah, that's it for this sizing thing. We want to reset also this to normal standard quality. Okay, and in the end we have 3D if you're working with 3D images, but we won't be working with 3D images. Jumping back on the right side, we have also keyframes. Keyframes are good if you are making changes on different characters, different nodes. Maybe I'm adding another corrector, another nodes that is calling this correctors. And as you can see, I have corrector 1 here. As I'm adding another one with Option S on Mac and Alt S on PC, he's adding another corrector. So maybe I'm doing something there. I can add a keyframe by pressing on that keyframe, and I may want to, generate something, from everything, from curves, from the primary wheel, color wheels, and it will affect just my image following that frame. The other one will be like this, and it created 2 frames. So it's pretty handy. We're gonna talk about these 2 on another lesson. And the information of your clips. And to finish this high part there, you have how much you're seeing your image, how big you can just jump cut inside the image with Command minus and plus, and you can drag with your mouse whatever you want. If you have a touch bar, or if you have a magic trackpad, you can choose to activate qualifiers and effects with this. You can use this to split screen with other clips. Maybe you want to see a different clips and you want to go there. Version is for color version, and we're going to talk about that. But on select clips, you will see all your clips, your selected clips. You may want to do that to see all the different colors between them. You may want to see the selected album if you're working with album on the gallery. You may want to see the selected LUTs if you're working with the applied LUTs. And yeah, that's all there for this selection part. You have also the image wipe if you want to see the before and after with a gallery still or with another image. You may choose by selecting them, and you can customize it just by pressing these little things there. If you want the horizontal wipe or the vertical wipe or the mismatch wipe, if you want to put them one above the other. A, B, if you want to confrontate them. You have also other tool if you want to see them in different ways. And yeah, that's it for the color panel. Everything you have to know, it's right there. All these little tools that we talk about are also on the workspace, on the color space. It's there, but being conscious on what they are physically inside there, it's better for you. We will see at each individual part right now on next lessons, but knowing that it's the great starting point just to let you know where we are placing our hands on, where we are working on. And yeah, that's it. Final part is this little thing. This will help you if you are using Windows or qualifiers and you may don't want to see some things. So maybe you are using an effect but you don't want the effect, you want to see the qualifier. You can just set this to off. And yeah, here are the layers and the audio. You want to deactivate the audio if it's you're not comfortable with the audio. It should be okay. And yeah, that's it. So let's jump on the next lesson, and we're gonna start talking about the first thing, that is reading scopes.